All right, it is 7 o'clock. Let's call to order. I have my gavel tonight. This regular meeting of the Beverly City Council, Monday, April 5th, 2021. I'm smiling, and Ms. Kent, could you please call the roll?
Ames? Here. Copeland?
Here.
Feldman? Here. Flaherty? Flowers?
Here.
Houseman?
Here.
Rand? Rotundo?
Here.
And Guanci.
I am here. Councilor Houseman, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. And of course, thank you to Councilor Houseman, who always does a great job and is prepared. Before we move on, I will read tonight's script for the remotely conducted City Council meeting to be held tonight, Monday, April 5th, 2021. Confirming member access. As a preliminary matter, this is Paul Guanci, President of the Beverly City Council. Before beginning the meeting, I'd like to announce that this meeting is being recorded by the City of Beverly and is live streamed by BevCam on both Channel 99 and via BevCam's YouTube channel. I'm confirming that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. A nod of the head would be great, or a thumbs up. Excellent. Thanks, team. Introduction to remote meeting. Good evening. This open meeting of the Beverly City Council is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspended the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as adequate alternative public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting does not have any public participation. We do not have any public speakers or any public hearings. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and televised live and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants or viewers may be able to see and hear you, and anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. You have the option to turn off your video if you are participating via computer. All participants should keep their microphones or phones muted unless recognized by me, the chair, to reduce background noise and feedback. Please wait until the person speaking is finished before speaking so we can clearly hear all participants. In addition, because of the remote meeting, I'm going to read Rule 22 of the Rules and Regulations of the Beverly City Council. You would think I would be able to read this one by heart. Rule 22, all subcommittees of the council shall cause records to be kept of their proceedings. They shall report by ordinance, order, or resolve unless otherwise provided by law. No subcommittee shall act by separate consultation, and no report of as a body shall be received unless agreed in subcommittee, actually notified and assembled for the purpose in hand, and signed by a majority of the councils of the subcommittee. Every subcommittee to which any subject may be referred shall report thereon as soon as possible after full consideration thereof and a vote thereon. However, if the council may by majority vote order any matter pending before the subcommittee to be acted upon, the subcommittee at its next meeting and or be forthwith returned to the council. So for those of you that are new or you're watching at home, this is rather than break for subcommittee, we vote on all our orders out on the floor, as long as 6 of us agree to do that. So, or 5 of us. So now we'll take a roll call vote, and hopefully that will pass as usual. Ms. Kent?
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Flaherty? Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
and Guanxi.
Yes. So I thought it would be good to go out of order and start our meeting and hear from His Honor Mayor Cahill with his State of the City address. I know that a number of us put things out on Facebook hoping that people would tune in to hear what Mayor Cahill has to say, if he is ready.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. It's good to see everybody. I do want to say, if I could, my remarks aren't maybe as brief as last year. So if I start having any technical problems, would you tell me right away? There's nothing more frustrating than people seeing that person who can't quite be understood on a Google or Zoom. So thank you for that. And I do want to say, I know when I'm done, you're going to have a couple of resolutions. So I want to quickly congratulate Sue Carlton on her incredible career at the Beverly Housing Authority. I first met Sue when I think she was the new kid in the office, and my grandmother moved into Beverly Senior Housing right across from the high school. My grandmother was blessed to live there from the age of 77 till after she turned 99. And she called Sue many, many times for help with things. So Sue's somebody who's been an incredible friend to and asset for everybody in Beverly Housing for a long number of years, and she's really deserving of a retirement. She's still plenty young enough to enjoy that retirement, and I want to thank you, Sue. We're very much going to miss you, that's for sure. And I also want to congratulate briefly the young athletes who are going to be recognized. I see some of them on here. I was just checking out what you're all about, a youth basketball team that over your 4th and 5th grade seasons had all kinds of great success, even right through the middle of COVID, and that you guys actually went 29-1 over that period. It's impressive in so many ways. So thanks for being here tonight. I hope you find a little bit of what I'm about to say interesting, and congratulations to you all. So to our annual State of the City, good evening, President Guanxi, City Councilors, City Clerk Kent, and everyone in attendance. As we meet tonight, a little more than a year since Beverly and Massachusetts and the whole world were shut down by the COVID-19 pandemic, it is appropriate that we begin by remembering the 199 Beverly residents who have died from COVID-19 since the pandemic began. These family, friends, and neighbors of so many in our community are loved and they're missed. Two more things I'd like to say. First, the toll from COVID-19 is assuredly greater. We likely won't ever be fully able to count how many other people we've lost this past year where COVID was a contributing factor. Further, the health toll, both mental and physical, sadly may lead to more loss in the weeks and months to come. And for this, we as a community grieve. Second, and this next point, conversely, is to be celebrated, we collectively, the people of Beverly and beyond, have made many sacrifices this past year and have worked incredibly hard to protect each other. And we, this wonderful, caring community that we call home, has undoubtedly saved lives and continues to save lives. With everybody's thoughtful, persistent attention to the public health guidance of wearing masks, keeping our distance, washing our hands, and doing more outdoors in less than ideal weather than perhaps ever before. Now, in early April 2021, we are much closer to a return to the familiar. More people are getting vaccinated every week, and we are able to look forward to a summer with gatherings and celebrations, even as those will still require attention to our public health guidance. So let me say thank you. Thank you to you members of the City Council and the school committee, as we've partnered from the very beginning of this pandemic, trying to anticipate and meet the challenges wherever possible, and quickly and decisively responding as more challenges have come our way. Thank you to all our community partners who've been with us shoulder to shoulder throughout this pandemic. Thank you to all the people of Beverly as we have navigated the unknown, the fear, the massive disruption to our lives, and the losses and missed celebrations and traditions of all types. Thank you to State Senator Joan Lovely, State Representative Jerry Paracella, and Congressman Seth Moulton and your teams. You have been our partners throughout, keeping in regular contact and doing your collective very best work to help the constituents we all serve. And your work has made a real difference for all of us. Thank you to Governor Baker and the many members of your administration who we have worked with closely throughout. Your incredible work and your deep commitment to the people of Massachusetts are truly appreciated. Thank you to our essential workers, our committed and hardworking first responders, members of our Beverly Police and Fire Departments, and Northeast Ambulance, our frontline healthcare, public health, public services, food services, transportation employees, and more. And thank you to all our dedicated, resilient, and innovative educators and all our school employees. We are blessed to have you here in Beverly. You have and continued to give so much of yourselves to our children. Thank you to all our city department heads and employees who have worked tirelessly and professionally. Most of our department heads have seen their workloads go up drastically as the demands of COVID, together with all the regular business of the city, have piled onto their shoulders over this past year. And I can say unequivocally that they continue to perform at the highest level possible on behalf of the people of this community. And thank you to our local businesses for doing your very best to both survive this time and to take care of your employees, and for working with us all as we've advocated for state and federal help and searched for ways to support you locally. And when I say we, please know, and I'll try to say this a few more times, every time I say we, it's all of us. It's you, the city council, it's the school committee, it's the school administration, it's all of our city employees, it's our community. Anything we're doing together. So in many ways, we are almost there. We're almost through this. And yet, together, we still need to be vigilant, and we still need to respect this virus. Even as vaccines continue to roll out, we are still traveling this path together. This is a novel virus, meaning it is still mutating into different strains, and we are still learning. At a minimum, even after everyone has been vaccinated, we may all need an additional booster shot later in the year, and we may eventually find ourselves vaccinating against COVID-19 seasonally on an annual basis, much as we have long done to fight against the flu. So we continue to do the best each of us can every day. And I'm grateful for you, my colleagues, as I am grateful for our school committee colleagues. This continues to be our shared journey. During this past year, the non-COVID work of the city has also continued. And it really is incredible how much has been accomplished. On the financial front, since the pandemic began last year, we have collectively focused on responsibly navigating the resulting fiscal unpredictability. We have continued to deliver the most critical city services while attempting to realistically project revenues, both local and state. As we built our fiscal year 2021 budget, we collectively made spending decisions to restrict growth and deliver a balanced budget. And although the economic impact to the city budget is proving to be less severe than first anticipated, with state aid level funded in the current fiscal year and slight increases proposed in the governor's state budget for fiscal year 2022, we still see key local revenue streams decreased. Our motor vehicle excise taxes are down 9.5% from our previous 3-year average. Meals and room excise taxes combined are also down 24.7% compared to the 3-year average. While we are in a stable financial position to manage through these types of shortfalls, the reality is that there simply is less money available in some areas than we typically would have to work with. It is important that we do not overextend the city and risk erosion of the city's sound financial footing that we have strategically achieved together through much hard work. A note on federal and state pandemic relief. The CARES and American Rescue Act funds that the city has and will receive, both directly for our schools and for our overall municipal needs, is significant, and it's of great importance. It also comes with very specific guidelines and restrictions. We have collectively and will continue to work through the management and sound investment of these resources in a collaborative way, keeping faith with the people of Beverly who we all serve. Much of the federal and state guidance has evolved with earlier CARES Act funding. And the federal guidance regarding the American Rescue Act funds is still being formulated and will guide our efforts prospectively as we continue to work through the pandemic and beyond in the coming months and years. We recently received independent reassurance that our budgeting practices, our financial policies, and our long-term strategies are best practices. Standard & Poor's bond rating agency recently released a rating report on the city in connection with our issuance of municipal bonds to finance the police station, the last round of middle school construction, and more. This report commends our budgeting approach in light of the fiscal year 2021 challenges that all municipalities are facing. Standard & Poor's concluded that the city's strong budgetary performance, budgetary flexibility, and reserve positions all support the strong AA+ rating that Beverly has received. The city has now leveraged this outstanding rating to obtain 30-year borrowing at 1.853%, a record low interest rate for our city and substantial savings in avoided interest costs to the taxpayers of Beverly. To illustrate, each 1/8% increase in the interest rate results in $1.4 million in additional interest costs on this borrowing to the City of Beverly taxpayers. Our record low interest rate means that less taxpayer money must go to pay interest and instead can be invested in delivering city services, including education for our children and more needed infrastructure improvements. We obtained the rate we did because of our financial practices. Our collective efforts in this area and our responsible budgeting are paying real and meaningful dividends. Last spring, as we were just beginning to realize and identify some of the societal inequities laid bare by the pandemic, a specific tragic injustice demanded America's attention. In the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, the long overdue reckoning on race in America has begun, and we in Beverly have begun to travel this path as a community. We started with a series of community conversations on race. We set aside funding in this year's city budget, which to date has funded 3 anti-racism trainings for city employees, elected officials, and volunteers. We created the full-time position of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director, and Abu Toppin began his work in this role in January of this year. We also recently hired a consulting firm to lead us through a race equity audit. This audit will be complemented by the ongoing work of our Race Equity Task Force, a diverse volunteer group of 27 community members who have identified and begun to dig into the work to address inequities in Beverly in the following areas of healthcare, education, public safety, economics, and culture. We have issued unified statements denouncing hate speech and symbols in response to materials, flyers, and stickers found around the city. Further, in the aftermath of the senseless killings of Asian Americans in Georgia, and with an increase in hate crimes against the Asian American Pacific Islander community, we issued another unified statement denouncing anti-Asian racism in all forms. Following the issuing of this unified statement, city staff participated in a solidarity march last weekend to support our AAPI community. Key to these efforts is the recognition that we are only getting started and that this work needs to become embedded into our daily work both now and for the long term. In 2020, we paused, added necessary scope to further address issues of inequities, and then completed our 2+ year effort to write a new master plan for our city. This process, named Plan Beverly, sought and benefited from deep, robust community engagement and input. It affirms the values of our community, including our need to provide more housing opportunities for our residents, new and old, in all phases of life and across all income levels. The plan shows a path forward to meeting our housing needs while addressing density, height, and design considerations articulated throughout the public process. The plan also affirms the city's continued need for economic investment and jobs creation, business support, access to more transportation options, and much more, and balances these values with keeping our neighborhoods strong and protecting undeveloped green space. 2 partner plans will also be complements to our new master plan: our recently completed historic preservation plan and our soon-to-be-completed climate action and resilience plan, which we are developing in partnership with our neighbors in the city of Salem. The climate action and resilience plan will provide our 2 cities with the tools to continue to protect our communities against impacts of climate change, like the storm surge flooding at high tides we are starting to see during more intense storm events, as well as the dangers caused by heat waves and drought. And of critical importance, this plan will move us decisively forward toward carbon neutrality by 2050, as we aggressively cut our greenhouse gas emissions throughout our two communities, most significantly in our building, transportation, and waste sectors. To these points, the city secured grants in 2020, and work is well underway to determine how best to address and counter ongoing erosion at Aubert Park, and how to protect the Sandy Point Sewer Pump Station, one of our most critical pieces of city infrastructure, as it collects all of Beverly's sanitary sewage waste and much of that of the town of Danvers, and delivers it safely to our regional secondary sewage treatment plant in Salem. As for cutting greenhouse gas emissions, we are working aggressively to lay the foundation for the impending wave of electrification in the transportation and building sectors. In direct partnership with you, the City Council, and our Clean Energy Advisory Committee, 2020 saw us together resolve to reduce reliance on fossil fuels and transition toward clean energy for municipal energy needs. And we also committed to bringing community choice electrical aggregation to Beverly, a bulk electricity purchasing program created by the state to increase the amount of clean renewable energy used to generate a community's electricity. Pursuant to this commitment, last summer we hired a consultant team to lead our aggregation effort, and last month we submitted our application to the state's Department of Public Utilities, a key step in the aggregation process. Once approved, there will be a robust public engagement process before the program kicks off in 2022. Last summer, thanks to a very generous anonymous 3-year donation, we were able to hire a sustainability director to coordinate and support the city's climate mitigation and adaptation efforts. And in mid-October, we welcomed Irina Keefe as the city's first ever sustainability director. With Irina's strong leadership, our many department heads and support staff who have been engaged in this work are able to advance initiatives much more expeditiously. Late last year, the new 5-megawatt ground mount solar array on the old city landfill alongside Otis Road and Route 128 opened. In addition to 25 years of clean renewable energy that will be supplied to our regional electric grid, the city will receive between $175,000 and $225,000 per year in lease and pilot payments. Further, the city executed a power purchase agreement with the developer that will save the city an estimated $50,000 per year on our municipal electrical bills. On a similar front, we are close to finalizing permits for 4.5 megawatts of additional solar on city property throughout Beverly, specifically ground mount, rooftop, and parking lot canopy arrays at Beverly High School, rooftop and parking lot canopy at Beverly Middle School, rooftop at City Hall and the Senior Center, and parking lot canopies at the municipal lots at 1011 Pond Street and at the McPherson Youth Center. And let me just take the moment now to repeat what I've said earlier, that this is definitely a we. City Council support and approval, school committee support and approval, and the work of a whole lot of wonderful people in this community, both our volunteer committees and our city professionals, is critical to making all this possible. In 2020, we installed 6 level 2 electric vehicle chargers in 3 city parking lots. Last week, we installed 8 EV chargers at Beverly High School and 2 at the Ayers-Ryleside School. All these installations took advantage of state and National Grid grant programs. For example, the total cost for the 10 chargers installed at the 2 schools was roughly $145,000, with all but $9,000 of that cost covered by the grants. We hope to expand our EV charging capacity at our other city lots, at our other schools, and at Lynch Park in the near future. This summer, we expect to receive our second EV school bus as we transition to a clean, renewable energy-powered school vehicle fleet. Our first EV school bus has been in service since late last year and is performing effectively and reliably. With each new EV bus, we are cutting the particulate emissions that contribute to asthma and other negative health impacts as we cut our overall greenhouse gas emissions. Last for now on the sustainability front, we secured a grant to plant 70 new shade trees strategically through our downtown neighborhoods to increase carbon capture and mitigate against urban heat island effects, particularly in our environmental justice neighborhoods. These trees will be planted this year, strategically located and nurtured throughout this growing season so they take root and thrive. Now turning to other infrastructure projects, we will open our new police station by late summer or early fall. At present, our Beverly Police Department is operating out of 3 sites, as the current station cannot meet the department's and the community's needs. The new station, roughly 32,000 square feet, will provide a home for all the department's needs and will also host our new combined 911 civilian emergency dispatch center, a long plan combining of police, fire, and emergency management services dispatch for our community. There will also be a large training room for scenario and de-escalation training that ideally will become a resource for neighboring police departments as well as our own. And there will be a community meeting room on the ground floor. Our Beverly Police Department and our community need and deserve this new station and the important resources it will provide, and we're excited to welcome its completion. One other important aspect to this project is that with a geothermal heating and cooling system and with rooftop and parking lot canopy solar arrays, this building, in use 24 hours a day year-round, will operate as a near net zero building, meaning that most of its power will be provided by clean, renewable energy sources. Staying with infrastructure, we have continued to advocate and work with partners, public and private, at all levels of government to move the Route 128 Brimble Ave Phase 2 interchange project forward. Since the larger project with a price tag in excess of $30 million will still take time to realize, we conducted feasibility work this year and are now pursuing 25% design for an intersection improvement, possibly a roundabout, at the Brimble Ave and Dunham Road intersection. Until the new Route 128 Brimble Ave Phase 2 interchange is built, significant improvements at this intersection represent the greatest opportunity for a positive, impactful step we can take in the near term. This will also be an improvement consistent with the goals of the larger project and will serve to best meet the neighborhoods and the community's needs for the long term as well. Next, our 3 intersections road project is well underway, and improvements to the Henry's intersection, the Balch-McKay Streets intersection in front of the Beverly Golf and Tennis Club, and the intersection by the harbor front at the bottom of Cabot and Rantoul Streets should all be completed this year. The Bridge Street project design is moving forward, and the state is committed to funding it to start construction in 2023. We hope to continue to pave as many streets and improve as many sidewalks additionally as our budget allows again this year. Further, the Mass Works grant-funded project to improve the intersection at Sawyer and Tozer Roads will begin later this year, designed with complete street safety improvements for all, pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorists, with a particular focus on making walking safer for the residents in this neighborhood and safer for all the children walking to and from Beverly High School and Beverly Middle School. The state agreed to fund this Mass Works project at Sawyer and Tozer Road in part, since they have also approved funding for Phase 1 of the new Anchor Point affordable family housing development at this corner, part of the city's 40R district. This highlights the incredible work this city council has done in partnership with our administration, our school administration and school committee, and valued community resources like Harbor Light Community Partners, who will build and manage this new neighborhood. Further, last year, construction started on the joint YMCA Harbor Light project to modernize 45 housing units at the Cabot Street YMCA and to add 22 new units, which will serve adults living with autism and formerly homeless adults, both populations with key support services in place. Third, we continue to work with Harbor Light Community Partners, this time with Beacon Properties as their partner, as they secure the necessary federal and state historic tax credits and low-income housing tax credits to move forward with the Briscoe Village for Living in the Arts, a redevelopment of the former Briscoe Middle School to include 85 deeply affordable senior apartments, together with artist space as well as community use of the renovated Briscoe Auditorium. Harbor Light and Beacon hope to begin construction in 2022 for occupancy in 2024. Now, turning to the year to come, as we welcome warmer weather, longer days, and the opportunity to do more and more outdoors, our recreation department is busy planning for a more active summer camps and park season and scheduling our traditional summer concerts at Lynch Park and the Beverly Common. Our homecoming committee is creatively working to bring a menu of exciting homecoming activities to the community this summer. Meanwhile, our team at the Council on Aging is preparing to reopen the Senior Center this spring and welcome back our seniors who have borne so much this past year, and we can't wait to see them. We look forward to ensuring as much access to and enjoyment of our trails, beaches, and parks as we safely can this spring and summer, while adhering to new state guidance that is reflective of where we are on this journey through the pandemic. Many local restaurants will participate in our expanded outdoor dining program again this year, and we all look forward to their success. 2 downtown redevelopment projects will break ground this summer. First, construction of the long-awaited waterfront restaurant at the former McDonald's site with a planned opening by summer 2022. And second, the Depot Square 2 project, mixed-use transit-oriented redevelopment of the Rantoul Street block close to the train station, including over 100 new apartments and first-floor commercial retail space, and incorporating the Casa de Luca building into the project. As I stated earlier, we are much closer to coming through the COVID-19 pandemic, and we will continue all our efforts to provide more opportunities to regain what we know and love of this community in the coming months, all the while continuing to take the safety measures needed to ensure we do come out the other side of this most difficult time healthy and soon. We at City Hall are determined to continue to serve the people of our wonderful city in the year to come. We know you city councilors, school committee members, and school administration share in this determination. And we know the people of Beverly will continue to support each other and support all of us, as they have so incredibly done this past year. We are all excited and optimistic for the year ahead. Working with you all on behalf of the city of Beverly continues to be our great honor and privilege. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Cahill. Great job. You touched on everything. Does anybody have a quick question or anything? That's okay if we don't. That was a lot to absorb, and we can always reach out to the mayor at another time. Okay, no hands. Mayor Cahill, thank you very much. Let's move on to Councilor Flaherty. Tim, are you here yet?
Yes, I am, Mr. President.
You want to give us a quick update on the Charter Review Committee?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Great.
We've been meeting for the past few months, probably on a weekly basis, because we want to kind of move this forward so we have it ready, so it can go to the state. Possibly, if we do vote on it as a city council. Myself, Councilor Ames, the President Guanci are part of that committee, along with Hannah Bowen, Julie De Silva, Richard Dinkin, and Michael Pinciaro. And they've been great to work with. And actually, Stephanie Williams has been helpful as well. We've also hired a consultant from the Collins Center. They've been kind of giving us a little bit of guidance. So what our plan has been doing for the past 2 months has been going over every article, from the executive branch to the legislative branch to financial procedures to the school committee. Just get an idea of what our thoughts and trying to go through there. And the good thing about it is our charter was well written, and it's stood the test of time for the 25 years. It does need to be tweaked a little bit. Some things that we have talked about, we have talked about the 4-year term for mayor, and maybe extended the school committee, maybe to have at-large school committee members representation. So we have talked about a whole bunch of things, and what our plan to do is we're going to have a public hearing on the 15th, April 15th at 7 o'clock to gather input from yourselves and people in the community and trying to get some input. And then we're going to go back and spend a few weeks finding tuning some of what people have mentioned and the idea of kind of debating of what we want to put forward to the city council, because that's what's going to happen is we have to go to the city council and give a presentation and saying, this is what we recommend. And then it also has to be in conjunction. The mayor's office also has to agree before we can bring it to the state, possibly. If there are minor changes, we might be able to do that with the city council and the mayor with the state's help. If it's something you're talking about a 4-year term for mayor, the state attorney general's office might turn around and say, you need to bring this out to the voters. And that is why we're kind of moving at an effective but a responsible pace to make sure we cover everything. And that will hopefully be concluded because it does have to go to the state and happen for the summer. So if it is voted upon and succeeded, we want to make sure that it has to get on the ballot before in September. Or I should say November, depending on what we're dealing with a primary. Won't do it in the primary. We'll do it in a final election. So that's kind of where we're at. There's a lot to go over, and I could probably spend the next hour talking about all that information, but I won't do that to bore everybody. But I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that we are having a public hearing on April 15th at 7 o'clock, and we've discussed a lot of matters that have been very helpful. And I appreciate Stephanie Williams' help and the city's help, and the mayor who came. Rachel Abel came last week as well, and Brian Ailes came the week before to talk about the financial procedure. So it's been a great discussion, and it's been I think we might even make some recommendations come in about a month or so after the public hearing. But it's I think it's going to be an exciting, even though some people don't look at it as Tachata as an exciting, but I think it's a good idea to kind of fine tune a few things that we can kind of move forward with as a city. So I think that's about it. I don't know if anybody had any questions, but we look forward to seeing everybody on April 15th at our public hearing.
Thank you, Council Flaherty. You've done a great job running the committee. And I know that our budget analyst, Jerry Perry, is at every meeting offering any help that he can. He has a great relationship with the Collins Center, and he's really got some good help for us. And I just wanted to follow up. Tim mentioned earlier that the city charter was very well written back 25 years ago. And of course, it was because he was on the committee. He doesn't want to take any credit for that. But keep an eye out. Hopefully you guys will, some of you will join us on the 15th when we have our public hearing. It's a little dry, but it is interesting. All right, Tim, you're off the hook. Thank you. All right, let's back up a little bit and go to resolutions. Tonight we have 2 resolutions. One for Executive Director Sue Carlton of the Beverly Housing Authority. And I know Deb Roy is here from the Housing Authority. Deb, are you still with us?
I am.
You want to say a few things about Sue before we move on to the resolution?
Sure. I just had a brief history, if that's okay. I'll just read quickly what Sue did and what she meant to us at the Housing Authority, if that's okay.
Of course.
In the late 70s, Sue worked for an independent contractor who worked with local housing authorities to help them get their rental assistance programs up and running. And Beverly was one of her clients at the time. Our Section 8 program needed help, and the authority was on the verge of losing its 707 program, which is the state's version of leased housing. After many months of working with the BHA, the then director, Jimmy Vitale, knew what a gem he had in her and offered her a full-time position working as a program representative for the Rental Assistance Department. After a short period of time, Sue was promoted to the Rental Assistance Administrator, running the entire Rental Assistance Department. After a few years in that position, Sue became Deputy Director, and she held this position for 32 years. Her primary role as Deputy Director was to manage the construction and modernization of over 600 units of public housing. Her primary role as Deputy was to manage the construction and modernization. Her first major new construction project was the 22 Federal Street building, a 57-unit senior and disabled state public housing project. This was followed by 12 scattered site state family units built on 3 separate VHA properties. There was construction of 2 handicap units on Courtney Drive, and she also oversaw the rehab and conversion of Upton School into a 30-unit state-aided senior disabled development. She modified 12 units at Herrick Street. She rehabbed the admin offices at Bridge Street. She was heavily involved in the addition of the second elevator at our Federal Street property. And currently our mod phase, our big job that we're working on right now is the renovation of Ball Street. She was very key to that program. Sue, over her years, she has done lead abatement. She's installed sidewalks, repaired roadways. She's done landscaping, fencing, lighting. She's replaced windows, roofs, hot water heaters, and boilers. She's renovated bathrooms and kitchens. She's installed carpets and security cameras. She's installed siding, created laundry rooms, and done extensive ADA modifications, and I'm sure many more things I haven't named. And she managed all this while she and her husband, Scott, raised their 3 daughters, Ashley, Kim, and Kerry. In 2018, Sue took on her final role as executive director at the Beverly Housing Authority. And in this position, she served as the chief administrator of the agency. She was responsible for the planning, administering, directing, supervising, and coordinating all functions and phases of the Housing Authority having to do with personnel and property. She was on a first name basis with many of the residents. She was a savior of many pets over the years. Sue ran the Sportorama program many, many years ago, working with the kids of our developments. She developed great relationships with outside agencies like HUD and DHCD and the city of Beverly, to name a few. And most importantly, she had the respect and admiration of her coworkers. She was truly a leader who led by example. The pandemic dictated how we did business over the last year, and Sue navigated the uncertainty with a steady hand. She took the lead weeks before we had guidance from DHCD or HUD. Her final contribution, which was perhaps her most exhausting in her career, was arranging and holding the vaccine clinic for approximately 200 grateful residents and employees. That took place just a week and a half ago. And I've said that the phrase new normal a lot lately, but it really hits home this week as we adjust to our new normal without her. So I'd just like to thank you all for this. On her behalf, she retired on Friday and promptly left on a well-deserved vacation. So that's why she's not here tonight receiving this on her own. But she certainly will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Kevin Kelly, do you have anything to add? I know Kevin is the tenant director at Federal Street.
No, other than Sue is a great asset, and we'll still have her as a resource. But Deb's acting director now, so I'm sure we'll be steered in the right direction going forward. So I wish Deb the best of luck going forward as well. Thanks, Mr. President and council members. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And it was Kevin that brought this up to me to make sure that we recognize Sue Carlton. Excuse me. So Deb did a great job of letting us know everything that, hang on a sec. Oh. Boy, it's been a year. That's the first time that happened. So Deb just said everything that's in the resolution. So I am just going to read the last 2 lines because I would definitely not do it as well as Deb did. So whereas in total, Sue Carlton has been employed at the Beverly Housing Authority for 43 years. She has always advocated for the health and safety of the residents under her watch. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council and the City of Beverly does hereby commend Sue Carlton for her service and wish her all the best. And that we order the City Clerk, Lisa Kent, to spread a copy of this resolution upon city records for all time. Councilor Ames.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I just want to say that respect and admiration is exactly what I feel for Sue Carlton. She listens. She listens so well, and she does what she's done. She does whatever she can for people on all sides of situations. And I am extremely appreciative as the Ward 3 representative with so many properties of her hard work and the general hard work of the entire Housing Authority. And I look forward to working with you in the future because I just so appreciate the housing that we can provide for the people here who have the least. So thank you for all your efforts. And man, I just am in awe very often of how Sue has gotten done what she has. So thanks for doing this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Ames. It's hard to believe, but she's been a tremendous resource for me for the past 24 years when residents are looking for answers or trying to get on a list or want to upgrade their units because they have additional family members. She takes questions head on and she will do the work. And whether she gets you the right answer or not, she'll always get back to you. And her staff has been amazing throughout the years too. But I guess we could always say they learned from the best, Kevin Oscalillo, who was quite a character, who appeared before the city council an awful lot, who did a marvelous job also. We've been very lucky here in Beverly. Our housing authority has been run tremendously well as opposed to some other cities and towns around the Commonwealth. So I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
And how about a roll call?
Ames,
Yes.
Horstman,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanxi.
Yes, and thank you to Deb Roy and Kevin Kelly for being here. We will get you a copy of the original resolution to make sure that you guys get that over to Sue. in the next-
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Paul.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank Good night.
Good night. Our second
night.
resolution, we will turn the microphone over to Ward 1 City Councilor Todd Rotundo.
Thank you, Mr. President. This resolution was brought to my attention by Jeff Mattson, who serves on the Diversity Inclusion Committee with us. And so one of the things he was mentioning about a bunch of these young men who played basketball during the COVID, and some of the things as we recognized even with the high school is they didn't get a lot of the recognition that they well deserved. So we got to talk, and he gave me this information, and it gives me great pleasure to recognize these young men. Some of them I've recognized throughout the city. So I'm just going to read it from here. Whereas the 2019-2020 Cape Ann Boys Travel Basketball Team players, Liam Brown, Chase Connon, Ben Dowdy, Jordan Downey, Kyle Gambale, Drew Machad, Connie Panda, Nate Pasquarello, Jackson Patterson, Archie Silva, Ronnie Ford, led by coaches Len Gambale and Robert Machad, played an incredible season despite the challenges of COVID-19. Whereas Cape Ann Boys Travel Basketball aims to teach middle school boys the fundamental of the games of basketball, focusing on the development of team concept and ideals, as well as individual skills. And whereas Cape Ann Boys Travel Basketball strives to teach participants to compete to their highest level of ability while learning to win and lose with class. Whereas in addition to Beverly, the Cape Ann League also includes the following cities and town teams: Amesbury, Hamilton, Wenham, Newburyport, Ipswich, North Andover, Linfield, Pentucket, Masconomet, Triton, Manchester, Essex, North Reading, Danvers, Peabody, Marblehead, and Gloucester. Whereas the 2019-2020 fourth grade boys travel team, the Beverly team, a Division I team where we're undefeated in the Cape Ann League, going 14-0 in league play, and the total record for the entire season was 21-9. Whereas Coach Len Gambale and assistant coach Robert Machad, collectively the coaches, worked with the kids during practice, which was held 2 nights a week beginning in November 2019, preparing them for the league play. The coaches also scheduled games outside the league, including a number of tournaments. Whereas the Beverly team won their playoff games and were prepared to play in the final championship until the pandemic shut everything down. Whereas during the summer of 2020, members of the basketball travel community decided to create the Beverly Boys Travel Basketball Association. BBTBA, or the association, is a 501c3 nonprofit with the intention of the association being in a fun but competitive environment for the Beverly Travel basketball players from 4th grade through the 8th grade. Whereas the organization will prioritize skill development, teamwork, and collaboration, as well as proper behavior and work ethics as a means to strengthen character and individual abilities for both players and coach alike. Whereas presidents of the BBTBA and coach of the 5th and 8th grade Beverly Travel teams, Len Gambale, and members of the BBTBA worked diligently with staff of the Cape Ann League, potential coaches, and parents to ensure a season would be held in the safest possible way. Ensuring proper safety guidelines were met, Len and other members of the BBTBA worked on the game plan for Beverly Travel team trials for 4th through 8th graders. Whereas after the 2020-21 5th grade Beverly team was constructed, and despite the Beverly team learning how to practice and play under rigid COVID guidelines. The Beverly team proceeded to go undefeated in the Cape Ann League, posting a 9-0 record and winning the Cape Ann League championship. Whereas the Beverly team's success earned them a trip to the state championship held in Foxborough, Mass. The Beverly team fought valiantly against other highly competitive teams from across the state, finished with a record 2-2. Whereas it should also be noted that of all the teams within the Cape Ann League's grades 4th through 8th, grade boys and girls team, this Beverly team has been ranked 1 for the last 2 years. Whereas it is because of all of this great work that the 2019-2020 4th grade Beverly travel team, the 2020-2021 5th grade Beverly travel team, presidents of the BBTBA and head coach Len Gambale, BBTBA communications director and assistant coach Robert Michaud, as well as the rest of the BBTBA deserve to be recognized for their accomplishment on a successful 2019-2020 season, and more importantly, a successful and safe 2020-2021 season. Whereas the BBTBA demonstrated their commitment to the youth of our community to provide a safe, developmental, and fun season despite enduring the challenges of a pandemic. Now, therefore, be it known that the Beverly City Council wishes to express the utmost gratitude for and pride in the hard work and dedication during these challenging times. And that's it. The rest is just the names of the players and the coaches. And so there are some of the members on the team here. I know Coach Gambale is on the call, as well as Jeff Mattson, and then there are still a few players that will still here.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Collectively known as the coaches, do you want to say a couple of words? Mr. Gambale?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Todd, and thank you to everyone for asking us to join tonight. It really does mean a lot. You know, what I'd like to say is that I've been lucky enough to coach these kids for a few years now, believe it or not. And I can tell you that they are an extremely focused and committed group of kids. But the one trait that honestly stands out the most is the trust they have in one another as teammates. And it truly shows on the court as they've gone 40-3 in the past 2 years. They are an unselfish group. They rely on each other. They trust each other. And I know that only good things will come from this group of kids moving forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Len. Anybody else? How about a nice round of applause? Thank you, Councilor Rotundo, for your legwork on this one. I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Flaherty?
Yes.
Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Guanci.
Yes. Coach Gambale, give all the kids our best, please. Hey, we're back to our regular meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes of our meeting that was held on March 15th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Second.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Flaherty?
Yes.
Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Guanci.
Yes. Communications from His Honor the Mayor.
Order number 68. Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby reappoint, subject to your review and recommendation, the following residents to serve on the Beverly Cultural Council: Brenda Wong Murphy, Ryan Manita, and Allison McCarthy. The year terms would be effective until the date noted above, April 30th. They're all different dates. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer to the Committee on Public Services.
Order number 69. Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby appoint, subject to your review and recommendation, the following residents to serve on the Beverly Cultural Council: Jennifer Dawson, Michael Della Pacano, Diane Keller Fernandez, and Lindsay Smith. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
And please refer those to the Committee on Public Services.
Order number 70, Dear Honorable City Council, I hereby reappoint, subject to your review and recommendation, the following residents to serve on the Human Rights Committee. Pauline Zakowas, Leah Jones, Alicia Monfett, and Chief John Lalatcher. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
All right, we're going to go with Paul Lanzikos.
Sorry, I knew I got it wrong.
All right. I mean, I thought it was just Italians you had trouble with. It's nice to know that you spread it out. Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 71. Dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has received a $5,000 donation from Affiliated Managers Group located in Beverly Farms. The donation funds will be used for police department uniforms. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grants, earmarks, donations, or gifts to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this donation by taking action on this matter at your meeting on April 5th, 2021. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Chief Lalasher is here. Chief, you want to talk about this donation?
Yeah, so over the years, we've tried to come up with unified uniforms for the officers. When I took over back in 2013, there were probably 13 different jackets being worn, things to that effect. Over the years, we've gotten different donations from different companies to be able to put officers in uniforms that all match. So our current uniforms say Beverly Police in the back. They're readily identifiable. They have much greater safety features with reflectivity, and the manner in which the officer protected with Gore-Tex for the cold weather is just so much better than technology in the past. So over the years now, we've had to replace a number of these jackets, and we're also looking to possibly in the future come up with a dress jacket for each officer to, again, more professionalize the department as we move forward. And these funds will be used for those causes.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions or comments from members of the council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the donation.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
Yes. I would entertain a motion to accept the late file on order number 77 involving a donation for the fire department.
So moved.
Second. Second.
Roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
Yes. Ms. Kent, the order.
Order number 77. Dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has been awarded a donation of 76 child passenger car booster seats from the Toyota Buckle Up for Life program. This donation will be used to support the Beverly Fire Department's Child Passenger Safety Checkpoint program. Firefighters are specially trained to install and check car seats to ensure they are properly secured and children are transported in vehicles safely. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this donation at your meeting on Monday, April 5th, 2021. Thank you. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
And our fire chief, Peter O'Connor, is here. Chief O'Connor.
Thank you, President
Say a word.
Thank you very much, President Guanci. I'd just like to give credit to Jake Kryling. Lieutenant Kryling took over our car seat program a little bit ago, and he has just brought it back, done a tremendous job with it. I can't tell you how many seats he's given out to folks that need it and how many kids are safe because of it. So really want to give credit to him. He's done a tremendous job. Thank you for this award.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Council Copeland.
Yes, thank you, Council President. And Chief O'Connor, I think you answered the question in part. I just wanted to make sure, as far as how the seats were given out, is that on a first come, first serve? Is there a needs-based program, or how does that work?
Lieutenant Kryling has actually developed a bunch of different networks to make sure that the seats are getting to the right places. So he does work with WIC and a handful of other folks to make sure that folks that need seats get seats. So there are a bunch of different ways that he does make sure they get in the right hands.
All right, perfect. And thank you for running that program and for him as well. So thank you for great service to the community. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Copeland. Anybody else? I would entertain a motion to accept the grant.
So moved.
Second.
Donation. Roll call.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman? Yes. Flaherty?
Yes.
Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Guanxi.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Communications from other city offices and boards.
Order number 72, communication from Council Rotundo for the School Committee Subcommittee Finance and Facilities Quarterly Report.
I would entertain a motion to receive that and place it on file and encourage everybody to take a look at it.
So moved, and I just want to, if I may, just congratulate Councilor Rotundo for filing this report.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman? Yes. Flaherty?
Yes.
Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Guanxi.
Yes. Order number 73.
Order number 73, communications from Council Rotundo, Harbor Management Report.
And I'll just echo what I said for the last order. I'm going to ask for motion to receive that and place it on file and have everybody take a look at it so we all know what's going on. I appreciate your hard work, Councilor Rotundo. Motion?
So moved.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
And
Second.
roll call.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman? Yes. Flaherty?
Yes.
Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Guanxi.
Yes.
Order number 74, communication from the Beverly Preservation Committee, the 8th round CPC project funding recommendations.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property. And I would entertain a motion to accept the late file from Sergeant Henneberry on order number 78.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Ames?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes.
Feldman? Yes. Flaherty?
Yes.
Flowers?
Yes.
Houseman?
Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
Rotundo?
Yes.
And Guanxi.
Yes, Councilor Rotundo, I was trying to sound as enthusiastic as you were when I asked for that. Okay. Good work. Thank you. I know you're tired. Would you like to read that, Ms. Kent?
The late file?
Yeah, the late file.
Order 78. Communication from Sergeant Henneberry for the handicap sign for 39 Front Street. Do you want me to read the whole thing, or?
No, that's okay, because we're going to refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. That's all I have other than reports from committees. Oh, Councilor Rand has a question or a comment. Madam Vice
Thank you,
President.
President Guanxi. Thank you. I'm just curious about that last late file order. Do we have to refer it to committee and then vote on it a week, 2 weeks from now, or is that something that can be discussed and voted on tonight?
No, I don't think that we can
Legally
vote on it
speaking.
tonight,
It has to be 3 readings and it has to be in the newspaper.
because it's an ordinance change.
Okay. All right, thank you. It's also just publicly, I'd like to thank Sergeant Henneberry for working with me on that, and I called the chief on that as well. It just makes you think about how you never know what you're going to need from the city and in your life. And so as soon as we can get this done, it would be fantastic, because there is a couple very much in need of this spot on Front Street. So thank you.
Good stuff. Great constituent work, Councilor Rand. We'll do reports from committees.
Yep. Order number 63 from Legal Affairs, reappointments from the mayor for Beverly Historic District Commission, Ms. Caroline Beard Mason and Ms. Wendy Pearl.
I would entertain a motion to approve the appointments.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman. Yes. Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
Yes. Council Copeland, you have your hand up.
No, apologies. That was from earlier.
That's okay.
All right. Thank you.
I never want to shut anybody down. Next one.
Order number 61 from Public Services, communications from the mayor. Reappointments, Veterans Advisory Committee, Mr. Charles Rial, Mr. Paul Weinberg, and Ms. Susan Moran.
I would entertain a motion to approve those appointments to the Waste Reduction Committee.
So moved.
So moved.
To the Veterans Advisory
I'm sorry, the Veterans Advisory Board. I know, I heard Sue Moran, but I thought of the other Sue that's on the Reduction Committee.
Still so moved.
Second.
All right, where are we? Yes, second. Roll call, please.
Second.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman. Yes. Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
Yes, I heard the name Charles Rial, Bud Rial, who I know very well. I said to myself, what the hell is he doing on the Waste Reduction Committee? So thank you for pointing that out. Ms. Kent?
Order number 62 from Public Services, communication from the mayor for reappointments for the Waste Reduction Committee, John Swain and Mr. Sandy Burgess.
Good stuff. Entertain a motion to approve the appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Second.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman. Yes. Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
Yes.
Order number 67 from Public Services, communication from the mayor, appointment for Beverly Democratic City Committee appointment to Board of Registrars, Mr. Robert Pierce, Jr.
A motion to approve the appointment to the Board of Registrars.
Yes.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Feldman. Yes. Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
Yes, I want to publicly thank Mr. Pierce for his service and for dealing with a whole boatload of technical difficulties while we tried to have a conversation about him to get to know him, but I think he's going to do a great job. That's all we have tonight. Does anybody else have anything to add? Let's go to Councilor Ames.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes tonight, and I'm extremely grateful to the Salem News Today, who put a editorial today in the paper about Yom HaShoah. All over the world this week, and Wednesday, Thursday is Holocaust Remembrance Day. And in Paris, they usually read all of the names of all the deported for 24 hours straight. And those names are people often who are survivors will read their own name. And those numbers obviously are dwindling. And I think it's really our lot in life to try to help keep those stories alive, the stories of the deported, the arrested, stories of hope and despair and survival. And I can just say, so what does that mean really personally for us? Well, number one, there's a bill in the legislature to try to require Holocaust education, which I think is a good way to keep those stories relevant. And then just to speak of my family. And I can tell you, my mom grew up on the corner of Elliott and Rantoul. And when she was born in 1930, and over time, her father came here, brought his parents and his brothers and sisters. But over time, in the late 30s through the 40s, they would communicate, get letters back and forth from their family in Russia and Poland, all through Eastern Europe. And over time, those letters just stopped. And I try to relate to my son. Could you imagine if your great aunts and uncles, your cousins who you had never met, just disappeared, just one day vanished? So I just wanted to just say a couple of words just to commemorate that. Yeah, it's, to thank the Salem News and to make a little awareness for this bill that's on Beacon Hill. And just to say how grateful I am that I and my family, that we live here and that we have the freedoms that we have and how important they are to protect. So I'm grateful to all of you, and to our institutions here in Beverly. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Ames. Councilor Rotundo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to bring up to the forefront as we're moving forward with the pandemic, City Hall is opening up. The discussion on city council chambers, us as members getting in there or looking at alternatives. I didn't know the best way to bring up the subject without worrying about breaking open meeting laws, what have you. So I don't know when the best time this would be to discuss it. This may not be the time, but I just wanted to start bringing it up on the pile. We've been for so long, following the guidelines and the relevance to that. But I think at some point now we have to start having our focuses to getting back to live meetings and things of that nature. So I just want to mention it at this meeting right now, and maybe just to kind of get some thoughts from other councils, how they feel. I mean, I've been out in the public since day one. I know you have also, but others have not necessarily been doing that. So I need to be respectful of, the fellow members of the council too. So that was pretty much what I wanted to do, is just kind of bring that focus in on, getting back to city council chambers, with social distancing. If that's not a capability, could we go somewhere else to the Council on Aging or the high school auditorium? Because I know that sometimes the social distancing for public meetings, which may draw a larger crowd, and I don't know how large the crowd will be drawn, but we just got to start kind of thinking in that direction right now. It's been over a year now that we've been, being respectful and following the guidelines, but at some point we get back to the normal of doing council business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Rotundo. Let's go to Councilor Houseman.
Thank you, Mr. President, although I didn't raise my hand.
You typed in chief.
If you're calling on me, Mr. President, I very strongly feel we, ought to follow the science, and I'm not persuaded that the time is yet to start in-person meetings. I think we have and continue to run efficient meetings remotely. And like everyone, I'm eager to meet in person and move on to a new normal. My own read, and I give tremendous latitude to everyone who has different experiences in the pandemic, different comfort levels, different sense of what's appropriate. My own sense is, the science suggests that it's still too early to do council meetings. Maybe in the fall we'll be there. I rather doubt, based upon sort of my own anecdotal, sort of daily following of the news and the science. I rather doubt that we're going to be in a position where we should be meeting in person before our summer recess. I'd be very happy to be wrong on that. But I guess, to keep it short, that's sort of where I am at the moment. We have more variants out there. Lots of people are getting vaccinated, so we're certainly getting close. But I don't see us meeting in person in April. Probably in May, maybe June. We'll see. But that's just sort of where I am at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Is that why you typed in the chat, Councilor Houseman?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, that was just to talk about financial forecasting. Just to let folks know that we're meeting. We did agree that we were going to meet again, report again, and we'll have a meeting. I think it was scheduled for this week, Thursday. I think we're going to kick it off until Monday. Make a final decision tomorrow and announce that. But I'm sorry. Yeah. I apologize for not having picked up on that cue. Yes, that's why I had my name in the chat box.
Okay. Financial forecast. Great. Council Flaherty.
Yes, I'll just weigh in a little bit. I guess I'd respectfully disagree. I think the science is moving in the right direction. And personally, I think as leaders of the community, I think, we're asking teachers to go into the school system to teach kids. And I think it's, maybe it's not next week, but I do think it's people are looking to us to kind of, be safe and be respectful. And I think we can do that in that way if, within the next month or so. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Copeland.
Yes, thank you, Council President. And I'll just say real quick, it's, at some point it'll make sense for us to determine what it will take for us to come back together. Like Councilman Hausman said, it's not the right time yet. We're not there. So we have to determine what there means. Does that mean when everyone is fully vaccinated, then we feel comfortable or safe, or once we get to certain numbers? I'm not sure what exactly our criteria is for actually meeting together in person. So I think at some point going forward, we should determine that. And then once we're able to hit that criteria, we can make that decision. Just my thoughts on it. Thank you.
No, thank you, Council Copeland. Anybody else? All right. Hey, I just want to commend Council Copeland on something. He's working with a very touchy situation up there at Pete's Park, and he's doing a really nice job trying to, being a ward councilor, trying to find a solution that makes everybody happy. So that there's 8 of us. If you need some help, please reach out to us also. But you're being great as a point man. Much appreciated.
All right. Definitely. Thank you very much for that, too. Appreciate it.
All right. Our next meeting is Tuesday, April. Ms. Kent, did you have something else?
No.
Okay. You had that look like I want to say something. Or maybe it's good night. Our next meeting is Tuesday, April 20th. Keep an eye out. Financial forecasting meets next week. Council Flaherty's Charter Review Committee has the public hearing on April 15th. And check the city website. There's a lot going on that public meetings, but they will be virtual. And I'm dying to get back into City Hall, obviously. I'm dying to shake Council Copeland's hand. I'm dying to give somebody a hug. It's just, it's been difficult for all of us. And we've done a great job remotely. We've gotten a lot of work done. And I know we're getting close. I'm excited. I'm getting my first vaccine tomorrow. And all I have to do is drive to Rantoul Street, which that's the best part of it. So thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Congrats to Sue Carlton. Councilor Rotundo, great job with the boys. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call.
Ames,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Bellman,
Yes.
Flaherty,
Yes.
Flowers,
Yes.
Houseman,
Yes.
Rand,
Yes.
Rotundo,
Yes.
and Guanci.
And yes. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank
you.
Night.
Good night.